and this here may be tough to you. Snack cake to me, yeah, more hostess. This been overdue forever. Asked me when it was dropping, said never. Should've made you cut the feta, but I designed it Freemason Margiela.
What's good, Shellitronnn here, the most woke, no joking. I'm back at again with a brand new video. I'm gonna keep it so real with you. The hottest, most muy caliente news just dropped right now. So this week from the Carolina Panthers right now saying the assistant coaches Brady Hoke and Jeff Imamura have been relieved of duties. Now your first reaction to this might be good. Finally, man, we've been on a 4-game slide. We haven't been looking all that great all year, man. We need to make some changes. And your second reaction to this might be, but who are Brady Hoke and Jeff Imamura? Now, Brady Hoke is a guy who was in his very first NFL job of his life. Last year, he was the D-line coach of the Tennessee Volunteers and then got moved to interim head coach once they started having a terrible year, to say the least. He got this job basically because we're giving Eric Washington the defensive coordinator spot. And honestly, from what I can tell, his biggest accomplishment of his career was being on the coaching staff in Michigan in 1995 and being head of the guys who were recruiting on the West Coast. And he had some kind of hand in recruiting Tom Brady to go to Michigan. Other than that, I haven't seen anything too impressive from Brady Hoke, especially not when you consider what he's done so far with the Panthers. Now, I know it's only his first year, but when you have guys like Julius Peppers, Mario Addison, you have Dontari Poe, 2K Short, and to a lesser degree, we have guys like Efe Abada and Kyle Love. And these guys really aren't producing the way we've been seeing them produce over the last few years. Look, man, you gots to go. We're going to have Samuels III, which is the name I think we should all recognize, out there working out with our D-line. But that's not even the big news. The real big news comes from this Panthers.com article. So we're going to do something we haven't done in a couple months now. We're going to go straight out of PIP right here. Panthers.com, the same kind of headline. Brady Hoke, Jeff Imamura relieved of duties. In this second paragraph, there's something real beautiful right here. It says, head coach Ron Rivera will continue to work with the defense and will handle play calling duties while Eric Washington will oversee the defensive front seven. So basically, Eric Washington got demoted from D coordinator to basically D-line and linebacker coach, which is honestly about where he probably would have fit in better from the start. I have not liked our scheme on defense at all this year. And that's not just because hindsight's 2020 and we haven't been winning, but it just looked bad. From a scheme standpoint, it just looked bad. From having one corner being pressed up, having the other side giving a 10-yard cushion. Games where we have plays where there's no one in the front seven in a 3-point stance. We have all guys standing up. There's really weird mixes and matches of things where we have 2 defensive linemen rushing and then Luke Kuechly also blitzing, but he's blitzing against a guard in the center. Just these plays that make absolutely no sense. You're just drawing them up in your head and you think to yourself, how can I make the most ridiculous play art? I also want to make it as ineffective as possible. I think we found out that can be done very easily. Congratulations to Eric Washington. You really did crack the code on that one. I ain't gonna front. I'm not a big fan of getting the guy fired. I think being the front seven coach could be a good spot for him to be in. He definitely will not be the D coordinator next year, but I am very interested to see what Ron Rivera does calling these defensive plays, because after he took over in the middle or late part of the third quarter in the game against the Bucks, they only scored, what, 3 more points on us that whole game, so we'll see how that goes for us moving forward. Now, the second part of this that I think is actually the most interesting part of all this is Jeff Imamura getting fired. Now, this article here from the Charlotte Observer from July 17th, 2018 at 5:18 p.m. Joe Person wrote in this article a very interesting quote from our GM Marty Herney saying, we've had guys whose roles have increased over the last year and their titles reflect that. Now, this is an article talking about Richard Rodgers taking over the secondary, whereas before it was him and Jeff Imamura kind of splitting the philosophy and splitting the coaching duties for the secondary. So my question is, if they had split duties before and Richard Rodgers got a bigger role and got the bigger title, why was Jeff Imamura fired for our secondary not being all that great this year? I think we're, what, like in the low 20s so far against the pass this year? I'm very confused as to what this actually means. Why was Jeff Imamura fired if Richard Rodgers got the nod this year? Are they using more of Jeff's philosophies and coaching styles in the secondary so far this year, and they fired him because of that? That doesn't make sense, because in your first year as the head guy after splitting the responsibilities for so long, or was this more of a message to Richard Rodgers saying, look, your job is not as safe as it used to be? Or is this more of a message to Richard Rodgers saying, your job is not that safe, we got rid of this guy, and he really didn't have a big part in... But that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense, because if You want to put your fingerprint on that. You want to put your stamp and your style on this defense, on the secondary. So I don't really see him maintaining his assistant's kind of style to this. So this move has to be more of a message to Richard Rodgers saying, look, your job is not so safe as you think it is. But I do believe we're trying to isolate what the problem is here and try to figure out what exactly the issue is. Kind of like what the Cowboys were doing earlier this season when they fired their old O-line coach, got the new guy who was actually their old O-line coach. They fired some other guys. They gave Zeke a bigger role. Then they went out and signed Amari Cooper, all in an effort to see what exactly the problem was with the offense and to see if Dak was worth all that money they're going to have to pay him next year if they do re-sign him for the money he's going to be due. And honestly, those moves worked out really well for them because their offense was a lot better and they're playing a little bit better too. I mean, their defense is obviously top 3-ish in the league right now. Crazy to say it, but it's true. And I think we're kind of making the same kind of moves ourselves, trying to isolate who exactly is the problem here. Look, we demoted Eric Washington. We got rid of Jeff Imamura. So we're looking more heavily at Richard Rodgers here. We actually just went ahead and just fired Brady Hoke. So it's not really an issue with that. Sam Mills is probably going to do a good job with our D-line. But honestly, we're not really in the playoff hunt anymore. So this is really a move for the future for our team. Really just going into next year and beyond. Seeing if these guys who we just gave big responsibilities to are going to work out for us going in the long run. Or if in addition to picking up new players in the draft and in free agency, if we're going to need to pick up new coaches and new coordinators as well. And that's what's going to be the really big issue here, is picking up more coaches and more players to fit into our system. Does our system change? Do we continue to play Tampa 2 next year if Luke Kuechly is continuing to lose just a little bit of that step? He's still playing at an elite level, but we can all agree he's not playing at the level he's been playing over the last 3, 4, 5 years. But I don't know what your thoughts are on these moves. Were these the right moves to make? Are there more moves to be made in the future? And what are those moves going to be? Let me know in the comments below. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.